Okay, quick Wednesday morning, Groundhog Day update. So, pretty slow markets this week. I think it's the slowest we've had in a while. Last week was slow, but this week has started off very sort of lethargic. Summertime, thinner spreads, thinner trading, wider spreads. But I know a lot of people will throw the seasonal effect out there. Yeah, not interested. Not interested in seasonals. It's just how the markets can trade when the markets are thin, and they can do this at any time of the year. But yes, they do it a lot in the summer. Does it affect performance? Well, if you basically if your performance is linked to the indexes and very sloth-like, yeah, it's going to affect your performance, I suppose. But if your performance is based on your own results, riding the best stocks, yeah, it's going to be pretty. It's going to have a very, very loose correlation with my results. The summertime market, extremely loose. Sometimes they're fantastic, sometimes they're not. I know that not taking signals in the summer, if I've got free risk to allocate, some of the best trades emerge in the summer. Nobody believes them when they start to emerge. That's how the market comes out of every pullback or every slow sort of phase. Nobody believes them. They come through the screens, and then 2 months later, when you look back and you believe, that's not the time to be buying, is it? The time to be buying is where you can find the best reward to risk in the trend. So, bit of off piece there. Let's just get back into what we do. The transports, considered the leader. I still consider it the leader myself. I take notice when the transports and the Dow moves together. They are not doing that at the moment. Sorry, the DAX moves together. The DAX is going sideways to higher, and the transports is pulling in. So, is this a normal correction in the transports, or is the transports leading here, trying to lead us down? So far, very normal correction. We've traded probably correction pullback on that as well. Yeah, we're probably 10% off highs, aren't we? So that's pretty normal action. Obviously, I'm not in the prediction game. I'm just in the how bullish are the markets game, and let's just go through these. Dow Jones bumping against highs in the history of the world. S&P traded all-time highs in the history of the world yesterday lunchtime or morning. Nasdaq yesterday just punched through all-time highs in the history of the world yesterday. It's closed, slightly shy of all-time closing highs. Come on, let's be real. Russell still going sideways. It's been going sideways for months. It's been going sideways since the beginning of the year. So is that weak action or is that strong action? Well, after almost straight line 50% move, 60% move, consolidation through time or price, it's going the time route. It's not going the price route yet. I say yet because it could do whatever it wants in the future. Nobody knows. But, that is the state of that market at this point in time. That's all what matters to me. The DAX, it's bumping against all-time highs in the history of the world. What about the FTSE 100? Well, it's off highs. This is the only market what hasn't actually recovered yet. It's an awful market. You would never link your performance to the FTSE 100, would you? If you trade stocks. If you do, I think it's a very strange way of doing it. But the way it's made up, it's not really very important, is it? The 250, yeah, well, that's more likely going to reflect a a good portfolio of good stocks. You'll find some good growth stocks in here, and where is it? It's bumping up against all-time highs in the history of the world. It's been going sideways for some time, I will add. What about the small caps? Well, yeah, this is where I do business, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days off all-time highs. It's been going sideways for over a month. Yeah, whatever. And that's just the 350, obviously. And the all share will look the same. And then we can go the all world one I like to look at, minus the US. This is the all world, ignoring the US markets. And yeah, that's an interesting chart in my world. Consolidation since the back end of last year in this market. So, nobody knows where the market's going. I certainly don't. I allocate risk to how bullish the market is. My trend model's still virtually full bull. It is what it is. Running full risk. Have been for over a year now, and about a year on full risk. Start building into them sort of over here. And if the markets deteriorate, that risk level will go down. I will get stopped out of winners, get stopped out of losers, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is I make money because I trade outside the noise in the trends, and I don't predict. I just allocate risk to how bullish the market is. And predicting the markets were going lower started here, and my trend model was kind of saying I could risk 4%, 5%, and 6%, and I started to be able to risk money on my portfolio around this area. Small caps started to emerge. If you go back to the general consensus, that was where the market was going to collapse, and all the way up, everyone told you to lighten up on your positions here as I was trying to buy. I wasn't predicting, I was reacting to how bullish the market was on my time frame, and marrying the two. So that's why we've made huge returns in this bull market so far. And after bad markets, good markets follow. Nobody knows what's happening in the future. I certainly don't. But my risk management's in check, and it will unwind in real time as I move forward. No predictions. Moving on into the volume leaders today. It's a really slow day. We probably had a week and a half of the most boring, slowest, thinnest sort of markets. Choppy sort of wide spreads we've had in some time. So these are the volume leaders, the large cap volume leaders. I'll just go through these. There's hardly any in there today. Yesterday was okay actually, but it was still thin in the small caps. I think it's just the small caps have had a couple of really thin days for me. But Fever Tree, obviously, very sloth-like sort of growth in these days. FEVR. I would hate to be that person, that investor, who gets involved with an ex-leader, be it Boohoo or Fever Tree, because they think because it's come down in price that it can do the same thing again. Only people who manage to stay in the market long enough will actually, come to terms with this. Ex-leaders very rarely lead new market phases, and think of AB Dynamics, think of Trifast, think of Fever Tree, and think of Boohoo. Are they leading? No, not at all. They're just doing nothing. They've been doing nothing for a few years now, and that's basically how it happens. A lot of people go overweight in these things because they think they've been good in the past, that they should be good again in the future. Well, they might be, but they can be out of favour. Out of 10 out of 10 leaders, I'd say maybe 1 or 2 recover and go off on a second run after sort of, a big breaking trend. Very few. It's usually new stocks. The market always looks forward. Never be hung up on sort of things in the rearview mirror. So there's a little bit more off piece today. Peg ratio, forward peg on Fevertree being over 4. Is that a growth stock? So let's just buzz through these. Lose less. Kind of a lower high in the numbers on that one. Headlamp, awful sort of price action on that. Yeah, we looked at this one, didn't we? And it went out of the IPO so fast. I want to look at this in the future. New base in the future. I'll have another look what it's trading towards, see if it hits the screens. Lion Trust is probably one of the last high in the GTRS base breakouts we've had. And working fine, low beta, not where I sort of do that much business in the low beta ones, but nothing wrong there. Tell it got bought out, didn't it? Moving on, I've got a bid. Into the small caps, it's 11.20. We should have traded 39%, is that right? Yep. To be on average volume. There's not much in the small caps either today. Very quiet markets. So let's buzz through these as well. Acceleration in the numbers in the earnings on Step Cement. Very boring area, but it is actually grinding higher, isn't it? Low beta, sort of a bit boring. And this is the other one we saw last week as well. Same again, acceleration in the. What's it in? Acceleration in the earnings. Pre-tax expected to sort of go from negative to positive, and turnover is decelerating. Got hiccups now, so not an A-grade setup either, but it is melting okay. Zytronic, this is a lose more scenario. Very flat numbers. Lit went a while ago now. It's still a high flyer. I'm sure it's still a high flyer in the growth list. Yeah, top 100. Acceleration on all metrics. All year-on-year metrics there. High in the pre-tax. And in the earnings per share. So, yeah, we've covered that in detail from the base, didn't we? As we always say, you chase, you die. So, Science in Sport, yeah, this one it's full on POS in my world, but it did rip out of that base, didn't it? Next up, SYM. Moving on. SDI. I've got a position in SDI. Obviously, I'm running a core position from a lot lower. So, where is SDI? It came into mean trend. I think I talked about it in depth as well. When the tips started hitting this thing, after this move here, the tips started knocking it around. Weak holders combined with thin markets. The last time it hit our screens was this day here for this day here. It made a swing move. Where is it now? It's just back into mean trend. The way I kind of view this is it's a messy base. So, let's just get this thing correct. Oh. It's just messy base in action. He says I can't draw it. So it's in that area of interest, and it's expecting to go through some news soon. So that is the way I would draw that. First pullback to this consolidation. It's not exactly perfection as you know, artistic perfection is it, that price action, but that's because of the tips and the weak hold as well, getting into these things late. Start trying to trade in and trade out. Yeah, it's an area of interest. I have a full position, you know, already running. Quiz, I'll move on from that one. Bird is the word. It's full on POS again. It's, you know, it's loss making, all the rest of it. Was a nice line in the sand. Cyan, this one went out fast. It's a big tick up in the turnover, and it's kind of a lose less scenario on the pre-tax. And so, you know, it's a POS in this area here. Would be obviously an obvious area to see if it posts a swing move on the end of day screens at some point. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. So that's what's in the screens today. That's a return to pre-tax as well on that one, with a acceleration in the I'll punch it in, DPEU, acceleration in the turnover on DP Eurasia. So it's not going to be a high flyer in the GTRS either, but yeah, that's what we've got today. We've got pretty thin action, but we'll see what the end of day screens bring as always. Okay.